Hi, Lenny.
Hi, Nancy.
Welcome to episode 91 of the Front Porch Book Club.
The Front Porch Book Club is a podcast that meets twice a month.
We like to dig deep into the relationship between characters and the worlds they live in.
Grab your book and iced tea and join us on the front porch. Nancy, you've been traveling. Did you come back sick?
I did come back sick.
I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I got a cold.
Too much partying.
No, that was not it.
It was a work trip. Sorry. Oops.
I joined the Board of Humanities Nebraska this year, and I had the opportunity to go to the National Conference on the Humanities in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was really a fabulous 3 days of learning about what's going on in other states as far as the humanities go, and talking about visions for the future, and then also learning quite a bit about Providence. I have not really been to Providence ever. I've been through Providence, and it was just a really lovely city to visit. I got to spend quite a bit of time in the downtown area where the conference was, but then also took some tours around Providence. And one of the really exciting things that I saw is the first industrialized factory in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of factory was it?
It was a spinning and thread making factory. Okay. That's right down my love of textiles.
Yes.
So I loved everything about it. It was just amazing. And Providence is full of all kinds of textile mills, no longer active, but buildings. So it really was a hotbed for textile manufacturing back in the day.
Very fun.
And of course, now all those buildings, they're figuring out reuses for them. So it's really interesting to learn about Providence, and then all of the immigration that has happened, just waves and waves of mill workers through the decades and centuries since then.
Very nice. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, well, you know what time of year it is, Nance.
What time of year is it, Lenny?
It's Christmas time, the holidays. And so that means we're going to do a children's book. We selected The King Penguin by Vanessa Roeder. Now, Nancy, this is a book that came across your desk as an idea for this Christmas.
Mm-hmm. I thought it sounded really interesting, just the brief sketch that I read about it. It's written by Vanessa Roeder, as you mentioned. She's written and illustrated 5 children's books, and she's won awards for her art and writing from the Austin and Houston's Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And she was also a finalist for the Writers League of Texas Picture Book Awards.
It's a book appropriate for toddlers on up, I'd say. It's beautifully illustrated, and it has that really nice cadence to it that children's books do, especially for younger children.
Yeah, it's very sweet. I think both that cadence and the illustrations are something that would catch and keep a toddler's attention. I can definitely think about reading this book at night. One of the things that I really like about this book, and that caught my attention when I first heard about it, is it's sort of like governance from the perspective of penguins. And that's right up my alley since I love public policy. In this book, the King Penguin Percival, he really likes being a king penguin because it means that he's in charge of all the other penguins. And for him, it's just a given that he's the ruler. He loves that and all the special treatment that he gets. The penguins seem like they're okay with it for a while, but then eventually they kind of start asking themselves, well, why is he the king? And they decide to kick him out of the colony. Did you see that coming, that he was going to be ejected from the colony?
When he started eating a couple people's fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're eating my fish and you're making rules and they don't seem quite fair. Mm-hmm. Time to get a bootin'. Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't listening to others. He was only caring about his own selfishness.
That's
And
true.
so that will get you booted pretty quick. And it's kind of like he's booted, but kind of like, I'm not wanted here, so I'll go someplace where they do want me.
Right.
He still has a lot of pride, and that he's not seeing that the problem is him. The other penguins just don't know how good they have it, or how such a great king I am, or don't recognize me for who I am. He is still thinking that it's them and not his fault that he got booted out of there.
Yeah.
Thinking about the way he rules with his divine authority. He goes out looking for other creatures to rule over. He tries seals, polar bears, walruses, sardines. You would think sardines might. No.
Maybe. Yeah. He's kind of working his way down the food chain there.
That's kind of what I thought too. I mean, the killer whales, maybe not a group I would start it out with, but okay. Even the sardines want to eat them.
Yep. I thought it was funny that he's searching for a group of animals he can rule over. At this point in the story, he doesn't really care that much about penguins in particular. He just cares about his power. So he is trying to replicate that power with whatever group he can find that will accept him. For him, I think it's really humiliating that here he is. He has this divine right to be a king because, after all, his name is King Penguin. And others are not recognizing this in him. The final humiliation comes when he runs into the Emperor Penguin. Dum, dum, dum. And of course, an emperor's domain surpasses his own. I think it's at that moment that Percival has the realization that he's just one penguin, and his search for power is not what he should be thinking about. He should be thinking about helping them and not what he can get from them. So, like the prodigal son, he returns to his colony and apologizes. He brings the emperor along with him, which I thought was a generous thing of him to do since the emperor penguin was all alone. He gets all the penguins together and they start learning how to make decisions together. In the end, he discovers that life is pretty good being a part of his penguin colony when everyone shares and everyone helps make decisions. Obviously, this is a book that has a lot of messages. What was the primary message you thought this book will convey to kids?
That's a good question. I'm thinking of a tiny little person, a 3 or a 4 or 5-year-old, that I'm sorry might be the theme that is pretty obvious. But when you goof up and you don't treat people the way you should, and you realize, I haven't done right, an apology goes a long way at making friends again. You just have to say you're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But like all good children's books, there's lots of different messages, I think, for different age groups.
Yeah, I thought there was a nice message about democracy. So that might be for kids that are a little bit older.
Oh, yes.
This is maybe the story of King George in a way. He thought he ruled our colonies and we kicked him out. You know?
We did do that.
We did. I think it's also a cautionary tale about being grateful for the people we have around us and being cognizant that to be a part of a community, you need to act like a good community member. And that means not being prideful, not trying to get things for yourself from other community members. It means swallowing your pride. It means sharing. And if everyone does that, then everyone can live in a nice community.
Yeah, even the king.
Yeah.
Can be in a nice community.
The former king.
Yeah.
If only King George had seen that. You know, he could have moved here to the colonies and lived a pretty good life, but no.
Yeah. He wanted to tax too much, I guess, and rule.
Well, he also thought it was his divine right. I thought it was really funny. At the beginning of the book, the author talks about what the king's responsibilities are in the colony. And the author says, as a king penguin, some of Percival's duties included establishing order. And there's the illustration. He has this scroll that he has unscrolled and all the penguins are looking at it. It's royal decrees. And the first one is, I am king. Second one, you are not. Third one, I make the rules. Fourth one, you do not. Fifth one, only king penguins can wear crowns. And then finally, do not eat yellow snow, which might be the only useful decree in the list. So there's the storyline and the plot, but then there are these fun illustrations with additional bits of information in them if you look at them and read them. So in the next page, it continues. So the king penguin's duties, establishing order, next page, then settling disputes. And there's like a little cartoon panel here, and there are two penguins talking to the king. And the one penguin says, I caught the fish first. The other penguin says, but I found it second. Percival says, I have a solution. I'll eat it. And then the next duty of his, and appointing his royal advisors. And there are a bunch of penguins there who have been appointed as royal advisors. And then a snow penguin that Percival has built. And he says, I'll only listen to this guy. And then the fourth one, being a king penguin was hard work. And in this panel, there's a upset penguin saying, where'd my fish go? And Percival is laying on his throne, eating a fish with a whole basket of fish at his feet. And he says, taxes.
Yeah.
I think it's cute that there's the story. And then there are these little side illustrations that further amplify the story, which is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen that in a lot of children's books.
It's very cute. And I think little kids would like those little narratives. You know, when the littlest people talk, I think kids listen.
You're right.
Like, what's the little people say?
Yeah.
They have loud voices. They listen to them.
Yeah, kids really are attuned to that, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
So what did you think of our protagonist, Percival?
He's a little thick-headed. Here's the thing. If you're a little person reading this book, I think you might read that, oh, he's king. Okay, and you buy into it blindly. Oh, I'm king. And then children can see, oh, he gets to make all the rules. Of course, because he's king. But then they slowly see, I think you read it a couple of times, like kids are really open to reading stories several times to get the full meaning, that what he is doing is not kind.
Yeah.
And that gets him booted out. It's short enough that I think this is a story you read, and then they see how it ends, and then they want to read that again, because now that they know the ending, then if they hear the beginning, then the beginning makes more sense. Like, oh, he's really insisting on his own ways. And as a parent, you can bring that out too. Let's see if we can find out why the penguins ended up kicking him out.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do that wasn't so kind? And so you can grow with the story, I think, as children get older. They might laugh the first time or say, Mommy, what's taxes? Or what's the little penguin says, democracy.
Right.
Kind of raises his hand in a fist or
That's
something.
right.
Like, Mom, what's democracy? You know, little kids aren't going to know maybe some of those things. But I like that part about it, is that it can grow with them.
You're right. There are some pretty sophisticated topics in this that kids can learn a little bit about, but then certainly grow with. And then we also learn about the different types of penguins because, of course, king penguins and emperor penguins are actual types of penguins. So we learn a little bit about the different types of penguins, and the different penguins have different personalities also, and that's kind of fun.
And macaroni penguin does not want to be pasta.
No. No. He does not think his name represents who he is.
Oh, now that's a good point. His hair, though, is kind of like noodles.
It is a little noodly.
But yeah, even those things, like I thought, oh, which penguin do you like most? What is it that you like most about that penguin? Those things that you could talk to a little person about.
Could you see reading this book to a child over and over again?
Oh, yeah, I think this is the kind of book that you would.
Yeah, just a reminder, everyone, if you have any little people or soon to be born people in your life, just read to that even baby every day. All the research shows that children benefit so much from daily reading. They can often think about more complex issues more readily. They're able to gain empathy from reading stories. There are just so many benefits. So get books for the little ones in your lives for Christmas this year.
And it's just not the reading, right? It's talking about.
No, that's exactly
right. What did the king do to get him booted out of the kingdom? What could he have done differently? How could he have said that differently?
Absolutely. The discussion is a key part of it.
It's all part of the fun. Good Christmas book because it's all polar.
Well, Lenny, so you're on your way to Colorado. That's why we had to record this a little earlier than we might normally.
For Thanksgiving. From the King Penguin, I decided democracy would be a good idea. And I said to my son, would you be disappointed? I'm thinking about just a turkey breast. And he said, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
We'll stop by the front porch next time. We're gearing up for our end of the year wrap up and to talk about next year.
Should be exciting.
Okay, Nancy, I hope you feel better real soon.
Thank you. I will. And everyone, thanks for listening. Our website is frontporchbookclub.com.
Our episodes come out twice a month on the first and third Wednesday of each month.
Happy travels, Lenny.
See you, Nance. Nancy. Okay.